All right, today we're going to tackle a problem that so many organizations feel every single day, even if they don't really have a name for it. You know the feeling. It's that constant rework, the missed deadlines, and those big strategic decisions that end up being made on gut feel instead of solid numbers. It's this silent drain on your resources, on innovation, and some new research shows just how massive this problem really is.
So let's kick things off with a number that should really grab your attention: 66%. That's 2/3 of teams reporting a significant loss in productivity just from constantly having to reconcile and rework their data. I mean, just think about that for a second. All that incredible time and talent, it's not going toward building the next big thing. It's being wasted just trying to fix the very data that's supposed to be driving the business forward.
And this whole costly problem, well, it actually has a name: the data activation gap. It's this giant chasm between just having a bunch of data and being able to actually use it with confidence. This is the core challenge we're going to unpack today using the latest findings from the Modern Data Report.
So what's causing this gap? I mean, it's not like we don't have enough tools or ambition, right? The report points to 3 fundamental barriers that are essentially trapping your data's potential, creating all this friction right when you need things to be smooth. So let's break them down.
Okay, so the first barrier is honestly the most basic one: just finding the right data in the first place. And this isn't some small preliminary step. For way too many data teams, this has become the main event. It's eating up all their time and delaying projects before they can even really get started.
And the scale of this is just staggering. A whopping 89% of people who work with data say that just finding the stuff is one of their biggest time drains. You know the drill: you're juggling too many sources, the documentation is ancient, or you're trying to figure out what some cryptic column name actually means. It's a huge bottleneck right at the very start. But the problem doesn't stop there. Not even close. Because even when teams finally track down the data, it's often missing the context to make it useful. It's kind of like finding a single puzzle piece, but you have absolutely no idea what the final picture is even supposed to look like. And you can see the fallout from that lack of context right here. More than half of all teams are struggling to even interpret the data they find. Without things like data lineage to show you where it came from, or clear definitions or quality scores, data is just a pile of numbers. It's not actionable intelligence. It's really the difference between seeing a street sign and actually having a map to tell you where to go.
And this leads us to the third barrier, which honestly might be the most critical one of all, because it just makes the other 2 worse. And that is a fundamental lack of trust. I mean, think about it. If you can't find the data, and you don't understand it when you do, how on earth can you rely on it to make a crucial business decision?
Yeah, this lack of trust isn't some abstract idea. It is a daily painful reality. The report found that 84% of teams are constantly bumping into conflicting versions of the very same metric. This forces them to investigate what one person called multiple truths. When your confidence is that shaky, decisions grind to a halt, and people just fall back on their gut instead of the data.
Now you've got these 3 huge barriers: discovery, context, and trust. But listen, this isn't just some tech headache for your data teams. This has a real, measurable, and often painful impact on the entire business.
So this all begs the big question, right? What is the tangible price of just letting this data activation gap hang around? What does it really truly cost you? Well, the answer is pretty stark. This isn't just about frustration. This is about the bottom line. Bad data is a direct line to strategic mistakes and bloated operational costs. And get this, a whopping 47% of respondents reported direct revenue loss, all because of missed opportunities and bad forecasts. And if you thought that was bad, the stakes are about to get a whole lot higher. Because this foundational data problem isn't just hurting today's business, it is actively holding back the next massive wave of technology: artificial intelligence.
68%. Think about that. Nearly 70% of organizations are saying, look, our data is just not clean or trustworthy enough to power our AI. The AI revolution that everybody is so excited about is running headfirst into a wall of bad data. And you can see the result of that right here. Yeah, people are using AI, but it's kind of stuck in the shallow end of the pool. While 3/4 are using it for simple things like asking questions in plain English, only 30% actually trust it for the heavy lifting, for the foundational work of cleaning and prepping data. And it's simple. AI can't make sense of data that humans themselves don't trust, so all its true transformative potential just stays locked away.
Okay, so after painting a pretty grim picture, the report doesn't just leave us there, thankfully.
It also offers a clear blueprint for a solution. And it's based on what the actual practitioners, the people living this reality every day, are asking for. So what are people actually asking for? Well, it's pretty clear. They're tired of juggling a million different isolated tools. They want a converged platform. One place that gives them unified access, lets them do things themselves without waiting on IT, and has strong governance built in. They want things like semantic layers, which is really just a fancy way of saying standardized, business-friendly definitions for everyone, so they can finally fix this problem at its core.
You know, there's this one quote in the report that just hits the nail on the head. It's not that the business questions are too hard or that the people aren't smart enough. It's that the most important, most critical strategic questions are completely blocked by these foundational issues with the data. So when you really get down to it, closing this data activation gap, it's not just about fixing some tech problem. It's about strategy. It's about efficiency. It's about future-proofing your entire organization. It's about finally being able to listen to what your data has been trying to tell you all along. The only question is, are you ready to hear it?